Title: The Archivist's Vault. I still remember the echoes of their laughter, a cacophony that rattled the walls of the very home I once thought was a sanctuary. "You'll lose your mind, Jamie," my brother's voice dripped with disdain, his eyes alight with mockery. "What's next? You think ghosts are hiding in the file cabinets?" My family had circled around me, their jeers a symphony of disbelief, the air thick with their disdain for my obsession with the paranormal municipal archives. But I wasn't mad. I was driven. The moment I unearthed the forged death certificates while working as a records clerk, a dark veil lifted. The thrill of discovery morphed into a relentless obsession, and when I was fired for exposing the conspiracy, I descended into the depths of the city's forgotten lore. I became an archivist of the macabre, cataloging unexplained disappearances tied to the sealed sub-basement of our local records office. While they dismissed me as a delusional outcast, I knew the horrors hidden beneath the surface of our mundane lives were all too real. Years passed, and I became the foremost expert in paranormal anomalies, my name whispered in awe and fear. I delved into the archives that others dared not touch, mapping cursed territories and uncovering echoes of the past that threatened to consume the present. Each file I uncovered spoke of disappearances, families torn apart by unseen forces, individuals swallowed by shadows, and whispers of malevolent entities that lingered in the darkened corners of forgotten records. But I never expected to return home, not after the years spent in the shadows of tormenting truths. Yet, the undeniable pull of familial ties brought me back one fateful evening, wrapped in a shroud of recognition and dread. I stood at the threshold of my childhood home, the familiar sight twisted by memory's laughter, warmth, but ultimately betrayal. They had mocked me for years, and now I was a living testament to the darkness they refused to acknowledge. As I stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted. My mother's face paled, her hands trembling as she set the dinner table with the same worn plates. My brother's laughter faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. They expected the eccentric, frail figure they'd dismissed. Instead, they saw the shadows that clung to me, the aura of the countless horrors I had survived, now an undeniable presence. "I've uncovered something," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Something you need to see." They exchanged glances, uncertainty etched into their features. I felt a familiar sting of ridicule bubbling beneath their skin, but they had no idea what lay ahead, what knowledge I carried and what I had faced. "Look, Jamie, we're glad you're back, but you need to let this go. It's unhealthy," my mother implored, her voice a fragile thread barely holding together. "I can't let it go. It's more than just research. It's a warning." The weight of my words pressed down upon us, a harbinger of the darkness I had faced. As the evening darkened, I showed them my findings, files filled with dates and names, maps of cursed territories, and photographs of the places where people had vanished, swallowed whole by the very fabric of reality. I watched their faces twist in disbelief, the tension thickening the air. They could not comprehend the truths I had unearthed, the horrors that lurked just beneath the surface of their mundane lives. But in their skepticism lay a perilous fate. That night, as the storm raged outside, a shadow danced in the corner of the living room, a dark figure that flickered between the realms of reality and the unknown. My family remained oblivious to its presence, engrossed in their disbelief, while I felt the familiar chill of terror crawl up my spine. "It's here," I whispered, my heart racing, my breath hitching in my throat. "The entity, it's come for us." Mockery turned to fear as the shadow grew, swirling around us, feeding off their disbelief. I reached for them, desperate to break through the veil of ignorance, but it was too late. The entity, a manifestation of their ridicule, coalesced into a grotesque form, an amalgamation of every mockery, every laugh, every moment of dismissal they had hurled at me over the years. "No, this can't be real," my brother shouted, his voice wavering as the shadow loomed closer, its presence suffocating. "It's too real," I responded, my heart heavy. "You cannot ignore what you refuse to see. You've summoned this with your disbelief." The entity roared, a sound that vibrated through the very bones of the house, and in that moment, my family understood the weight of their ignorance. The air thickened with the scent of decay and despair, and I felt the darkness wrap around their hearts, a fitting retribution for the wounds they had inflicted on me. As the horror unfolded, I realized that I had survived the unimaginable, and in that survival lay a dark power. I confronted the dark force, channeling the knowledge I had gained to protect my family, to shield them from the very horrors they had laughed at. "Leave them be!" I shouted, standing firm against the encroaching darkness. "You have no power here. They're just fools blinded by their fear." A blinding light erupted from within me, illuminating the room in a purifying glow. The shadow screeched, recoiling as if in pain, unraveling before our eyes. It twisted and writhed until it evaporated into nothingness, leaving only a lingering chill and the faintest echo of laughter. Silence enveloped the room. My family, eyes wide with horror and understanding, looked at me as if for the first time. They had witnessed the consequences of their disbelief. The laughter had turned to ash in their mouths. "I'm not mad," I said softly, the weight of years heavy on my heart. "I survived what you mocked, and now you must remember this moment, learn from it." As I left that night, the storm subsided, but the shadows lingered in their eyes. They would never forget the terror they had invited with their scorn. I had returned not as the outcast they once ridiculed, but as a beacon of the darkness they had refused to acknowledge, a reminder that some truths, once uncovered, can never be buried again.